Yeah, so Shakur Stevenson's obviously on my radar, and Oscar Valdez. Shakur Stevenson, because he's obviously got the belt, so that's why we want to fight Shakur. And they're saying that he's the best out there, so I just want to prove to everyone that I can beat that smoke train everyone's going on about.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, from the four corners of the world to the four corners of this ring, let's get ready to rumble!
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you're watching or listening to this, and welcome to our brand new show, Behind the Bell, a new weekly boxing show bringing you the news, views, and topics from the world of boxing. I'm your host, Lee Parks, alongside
Matt Powell.
And today we start our episode off with a bang. Joining us on the line
is the #1 ranked in the world, the WBO European champ, and the WBO global champ, Archie Sharp. Hello, Archie, you all right, mate?
How you doing, lads? Thanks for having me on. Hope you're all well.
You're a very busy man. Just the first question, where did you grow up and why did you decide to get into boxing?
So I grew up in Welling, and my dad took me to a local gym at the age of 7. My dad, my uncles, everyone, my granddad, everyone boxed in the family. So yeah, it's kind of just had to be done, really. It was one of them ones.
And when you are boxing, what goes into a training camp? Is it just turn up at the gym?
Training camps are very intense. There's a lot to it. Strength and conditioning. You got your fitness. You got your boxing. You got skills, drills, sparring, nutritionist. It's a very intense camp, especially for myself at the level now that we're competing at. It's very intense and hard work.
It is crazy doing the camps. I've had the privilege to work with Archie a little bit. That man trains like an absolute animal. He is 100% in, and this is why he's going places right now.
So hard work, Matt's been there, and he's seen the hard work put in, and he knows. And also Matt's boxed himself, so obviously he knows what it takes to be a fighter to get in the ring. And it's blood, sweat and tears. That ain't no joke when people say that. And also you can't play boxing. That definitely ain't no joke.
So boxing is not a sport; it's a business. I'm afraid it's your livelihood on the line. that's the way it is.
Because I'm a casual boxing fan. I'm not the first person to afraid to admit that. So when you look on YouTube and TV and that, you see the likes of Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren saying, the boxers are the bosses, I work for the boxers. How true is that? Because we hear a lot of money gets floating about and stuff, and then we hear boxers say, well, I've had to pay for training camp, I've had to get sparring partners in. Is that actually true? Is it like you get a big piece of pizza and everyone takes a slice? Are they in control of you? How does that type of thing work?
It's a very dog business, the boxing game. But yeah, look, at the end of the day, the promoters need us fighters to fight. But also, we need the promoters to put the show on. So it's a bit of vice versa, really. We all take part of making the shows happen. Yes, it can be very political. Like I say, I'm in that position now. I want to fight everyone. I want to fight Shakur Stevenson. I want to fight Oscar Valdez. I want to fight all these big fighters. But they all seem to be tied up. And it's all about timing. Certain fights happen. So what people don't really see that the armchair fighters, dodgy people, that's far from the truth.
To be honest, I in my opinion, I don't feel like Archie's getting a fair crack of the whip. Do you know what I mean? He's ranked #1 for a reason. Like he needs these big fights. He wants these big fights. We ain't seen the best of Archie Sharp yet.
100%. It's just going to be one of them ones. So once my time comes, obviously I prove to the world what I know how to do, and then we just stay there. There's a lot of people who get that shot. They do what they have to do, and then they fall from the top. With myself, I win, stay there. I can compete, and I will compete at the highest level for the rest of my career.
Matt just said he feels like you're not getting the best shot at that. Whose fault is that? Is that the promotion's fault, or is that the WBO's fault, or is it just the boxing world?
It's just boxing, and it's just the business side of things. Everything's a business. Patience is the key. Timing is the key. People have been telling me for a long time now they think I haven't had my chance and a fair crack at the whip. But like I say to people, myself, it's all about. I'm just grateful to be in the position where I am. I'm enjoying the ride. It can be very frustrating at times, not getting the fights that you want. Don't get me wrong, but the time will come and it will happen. It's just one of them things, and I just keep sticking on the grind, and I will be at the top very, very soon.
No, no, definitely. I've seen a couple of your fights on YouTube and stuff, and your punching power is like phenomenal. On the actual fight week, how do you mentally prepare? Because like you've sort of been locked away for 8 weeks to 12 weeks, and then all of a sudden you've got to face the media and you've got to go around and do a lot of talking in interviews. How do you mentally stay focused for the fight?
It's boxing very much a mental sport. You have a strong mentality for sure. I'm very fortunate that I've worked with my coaches over the years. I work a lot on my mind, not just my physical being in the gym, but also behind the scenes. I work a lot on my mindset, and you just got to stay mentally strong and enjoy it. I think that's the main thing, is enjoying it. Because before you know it, once you fight, it's all over again. So I kind of just take the time of enjoying the week, enjoying the lead up to it all, and yeah, just like I say, have fun with it. If you don't and you grudge it and you're not enjoying it, then what happens is it just turns. That's where people get beat because they're not mentally focused, not mentally switched on. So for myself, like I say, there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that I work on my mindset.
And how much of a mental struggle is a fight? Because like you hear promoters talk about that sometimes fights are off because of people argue about who's going to walk out first and whose name goes first on the bill. Why is having them advantages over people such a help? Because to a casual fan, it just seems like it don't matter who walks out first or whose name's first on a poster. Why is that such a big thing within a fight?
I think some people are. Do you know what? To be honest with you, it's hard to answer because for myself, I don't really care. I don't care what happens. You know what I mean? I'm just one of them. I get on with it, do my job, and my job's there to fight, not to worry about who's walking out and who's listening to what. You know what I mean? Who's wearing what shorts and all that. I just do my thing and stay mentally strong.
Mate, you've been around fighters because you call in people and stuff. Why do you think some fighters feel like that when it comes to things like that?
I just personally feel it's more the case of the mental games. People think you can get the higher up or the one up on the mind games by walking out first. Like I totally agree with Archie. Who cares?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like who cares who walks out first? Who cares what colour shorts you're wearing? Because quite frankly, in my opinion, I'm coming in there and I'm going to knock you out. What's the biggest deal with it? To be honest, I can't see it like Archie can. So, Arch, what has been probably the most toughest fight of your career?
Toughest fight. I think all fights. Well, every fight regarding toughness is different. The mindset. I've had fights where I've gone in there and haven't been 100%. I've gone in there, had things going on outside the ring. So it's hard. Like technically, it's hard to gauge. That Ramlav's fight, I boxed to defend my European belt a couple of years ago. I had so much going on in and outside the ring. It kind of caused a bit of a problem, and I didn't get to do the training. I was ill, so for me that was one of the toughest ones because I had to basically adapt to so many different things that was going on. So technically, it's hard to give you a fight that's technically been hard. I would say most of my hardest fights regarding someone's ability would have been in my amateur days. In the amateur days, I boxed very elite level fighters. I boxed Olympians. I boxed all national title holders. So I'd say most of my hardest fights probably in my amateur career.
Obviously, I was there for the Alex Rapp fight, the recent fight. Mate, honestly, no word of a lie, that's probably the best I've ever seen you box. That was a boxing masterclass from you, Arch.
Yeah, that was the beauty because to see with me at 22 and 0, I'm still learning. I've only been with my new trainers and my new camp now for That was the third fight with him, so we're still learning on the. I say learning on the job, but what I'm saying is we're just tweaking things. Like my ability, I've been boxing since the age of 7, so I know how to box. You know what I mean? It's just a matter of tweaking things and adding things to the cupboard, to the closet, as they say, to the wardrobe, whatever it is. Whatever the saying is, just keep adding it.
I'll never forget the time. I'll always be grateful of you letting me in your camp against Declan Geraghty. And
Declan Geraghty fight was a good fight.
That was a great fight. That was a great fight. But you said to me when we was in London at a hotel, you went to me, Matt, I feel like the front hook today. I went, throw it, Arch. You absolutely launched it and sparked him clean out. That was probably one of the best highlights of my own personal career as a cornerman, and I'll never forget that. You opened my eyes to a lot them few weeks, mate. That was an absolute epic fight.
No, I appreciate you being there. You know what I mean? You was a part of the team. It was a good old night.
And talking about teams, what goes into picking a team? What's your thought process behind it?
Well, like I say, most of the people who are in my camp have been there since day. I know I changed my trainers in that team, but regarding the nutritionist, it's still been the same. My strength and conditioning, that's always been the same. Just obviously my new team, it got changed 3 fights ago. That was just because it was overdue. Me and my old trainer have been together for so long, experienced so much over our careers. It was just time to move on and learn new things. And so, yeah, it's hard. I'll tell you what, that's probably the hardest thing actually, because there's fighters out there who leave and they venture out to new trainers. But when you got a lot of loyalty for trainers, it's hard to walk away. Some say that I should have walked away a couple of fights before. But it's a hard decision to make,
especially when you've got people like your old trainer Rich, who is amazing, by the way. Like you say, you've had too much of a strong you're like father and son. Do you know what I mean? Like, and sometimes that don't really work. Like, obviously not in box. I don't know boxing wise, but when I used to work with my dad, it never really worked. So, yeah, just sort of like, yeah,
it's too close.
I can see where you're coming from there, Arch, to be honest.
Yeah, it's just a respect in it, because sometimes there are fighters out there that have got their dads in the corners and it works well for them. But me and Richard, yeah, we were so close. I think it just kind of outgrew its course, really. But there's still always love there for me and Rich, and it's good. And it's a lifetime. It's like family. So he's still part of the journey, just a different part of it. Do you know what I mean?
Of course, he is one amazing trainer, Lee, as well. By the way, he's very good trainer, very nice man. What he don't know about boxing ain't probably worth knowing about, to be honest.
What's next for you, Arch? I know you want some people.
Yeah, so Shakur Stevenson's obviously on my radar, and Oscar Valdez. Shakur Stevenson, because he's obviously got the belt, so that's why we want to fight Shakur. And they're saying that he's the best out there, so I just want to prove to everyone that I can beat that smoke train everyone's going on about. And Oscar Valdez, so I've been told Shakur Stevenson is fighting in September with the number 2 kid. So if that's the case, then that will leave Oscar. I don't see why me and Oscar Valdez can't fight for a final eliminator. So that's what I just don't understand, really, because he's number 3, I'm number 1. So to me, it makes sense that 1 and 3 fight, whilst WBO champion in number 2 fight. So, but we'll see. That's where we are. I'm pushing the team. The team are on it. So hopefully we can pattern that together and make it work.
Yeah, mate, definitely. Like, you deserve your shot against Shakur. In a way, Arch, I feel sorry for you, mate. Do you know what I mean? Like, how long you been number 1 now? It's been a long while, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been a long while. Look, I dedicate myself to the sport, and all good things will come. It'll all unfold, and it'll all be for the right reasons. So I just enjoying the journey, even though it can be frustrating at sometimes. I'm enjoying the journey. I am ranked number 1. I'm unbeaten. So yeah, it'll all pattern out. And God willing, it'll all be for the right reasons.
So, final question, Arch.
Yeah.
You, Nick or Joshua this week, Saturday?
I believe Usyk stops Anthony Joshua within 7 to 8 rounds.
I agree, mate. I agree. I just think it's too clever for him. I think Usyk's too clever. I think, personally. Another big fight announcement this week. Conor Benn versus Eubank.
Yes.
I'm feeling Ben.
Conor Benn and Eubank are a very good fight. Very, very good fight. It's an hard one to choose, really, because just, I don't know, does a good big and beat a good little one? I don't know. We shall see. It's a very interesting fight. I'll be watching it as much as the whole of UK will be, but it's a great grudge match for obviously the fathers and the sons situation. But no, it's brilliant, man, and it's good for boxing. So I'm very
100%.
looking forward to watching that as a fan.
Thank you so much for coming on the first episode, and we look forward to following your journey, and then hopefully you get the fight that you want.
Oh, thank you. Thanks very much for having me on. I appreciate that.
All right, so that was Archie Sharp joining us. Just before we go this week, Matt, we'll allude more into the AJ Usyk fight coming up this Saturday. So why do you think that Usyk beats AJ?
I just think it's too clever for him. I think, yeah, he is a smaller opponent. I watched a bit of AJ today. He looks a bit more leaner. I just think the boxing brain is just too good for Joshua. Usyk's brain's too good.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think I ain't seen much of Usyk because, as I keep going on this whole episode, I'm a casual fan. But from what I've seen of Usyk, he's got a boxing brain better than AJ, and I think that will overwin on the night. We'll see you next week when we'll review the AJ Usyk fight and see how our predictions went along. Have a good week, mate.
See you later, mate. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, from the four corners of the world to the four corners of this ring.